Hello everyone, welcome to LO channel. So we're gonna do term 2's work, whereby we'll start with learning styles. We'll learn how to identify and apply own learning style. Okay, starting with unit 1, different learning style. So firstly, what is a learning style? A learning style are different ways people takes in information, understand the information and remember it. Learning style are different ways people take in information, understand the information and remember it. So basically this is how you learn, how you memorize the information, how you remember the information. In short, this is how you learn. People have different learning style, so it means people learn in a different way. However, you can use different learning style for different work, subject, topic or specific subject. So it simply means there are different learning style. That is why we say people have different learning style. People do not learn using the same method. Also, it's very important to know that no one uses only one learning style. Like I have explained before, that people use different learning style. That is why we say no one use only one learning style. It means you can use different learning style. How you learn information, how you memorize information, you can use different learning style. Usually people use a combination of different style. So basically here we just explaining that when you learn, you use different learning style. When you take in information, the way you understand it, the way you remember, the way you memorize it, you use different learning style. Then we have the 4 basic learning style, or the 4 types of learning style. You have a visual learning style, you have oral or auditory learning style, you have read and write learning style, you have the kinesthetic or kinetic learning style. So this is the 4 different learning style that we use when you learn, when you take in information, how you remember information. So these are the 4 basic learning style. So let's discuss them in detail, starting with visual learning style. Learners learn by seeing or looking at things. Visually, we meaning when you look at something, a visual picture, when you seeing something, when you're looking at something. That is why we say learners learn by seeing or looking at things. For example, in a classroom, when we project a lesson on the whiteboard, so you learn by looking at the board, at the whiteboard, and see the information. So we use visual learning. You highlight and underline notes. So a visual learner, when you learn, you highlight the important information. You highlight or you underline the important information. You prefer pictures, mind map, graphs and diagram. So other learners, when they learn, they prefer to learn by pasting pictures or doing a mind map. So mind map help you to organize your information in a correct order. Others also draw diagrams and graphs. They like to use lots of color. Like example, if you study for an exam, so you might find that each information has its own color. You color the information in different colors so that you can remember what you were studying about. Then oral learning. Oral learning, they prefer to hear things. So oral learner, it means the learners, they prefer to hear things. They prefer to listen. They might not be interested in seeing or visual learning, but in oral learning, in hearing things. So for example, you might find that you explain things to them without showing them what you talking about. Just by explaining, then they can listen. Then they learn only by listening. They read aloud so that they can hear what they are reading. So when they read, maybe it's a book, a novel, or story, or a drama, when they read, you read aloud so that you can hear what you are reading. Instead of reading silently, you read it aloud. They also record summaries so that they can listen later. So in other instant, you find that when you read, you record it. You read it aloud while you record it. It might be on your cell phone, it might be on your iPad or a recorder, anything. So when you read aloud, you record yourself, then you listen to that later. Even when they spell words aloud. So this is the oral learner. So remember, they learn by hearing things. Just by hearing the voice when somebody speaks, then they can learn. Moving along. Then you have the read and write learning style. So this learner always read and write well. So this learner, when they study, they read. After reading, they take a piece of paper and summarize everything that they have read about. You read, then after you summarize on a paper. They make notes of lesson in class. For example, when the teacher is busy giving a lesson, presenting a lesson, that learner will listen to the teacher and also make notes. So whatever the teacher is teaching about, the learner makes notes about the lesson. They sometimes make a mind map and write on notes in bullet form. They sometimes make mind map and write notes in bullet form. To make a mind map so that you can know how the information follow each other. So you make a mind map. To write notes in bullet form so that your notes can follow a logical order. You write them in bullet form. You summarize notes in logic order so that your notes cannot be mixed up. You write them from the first topic until the last sentence. Then another one, you have the kinesthetic or kinetic learner. Kinetic learning, they learn best from hands-on activities or other methods that involve them physically. So with this type of learner, a learner learns by touching things, by doing projects, by moving around in class, by practicing soccer, or anything that involve hands-on activities, that anything that they can touch whereas they learning. For example, in technology class, when you do a project, there you learn by touching things. You need to be hands-on. You do those activities, you do everything by hand, you gather the equipment or the material that you're gonna use. So you learn by touching. So the subject requires you to learn by doing hands-on activity or physical movement. They learn better by touching things. Like I've said, when you do project, you learn by touching things. Or for example, in a classroom, if you explain a particular subject, maybe I want to teach you about a computer. So I'll give you a computer, you will touch the computer, you'll examine the computer and see what kind of a equipment are we talking about. So you learn better by touching things. You are a hands-on activity. Example, I said when you do project in class. So those project requires you to learn by touching things. You don't learn by just listening or by just doing only. So you touch. So I've said that a person can use different learning style. So it is possible for a learner to use maybe 3 or 4 learning styles. So you might find that a learner can learn visually, meaning you learn by looking at things. You also learn by listening, and you also learn by touching and reading. So it's possible for a learner to use those 4 learning styles simultaneously. You can learn by looking. When the teacher is presenting the lesson on the whiteboard, you look at the whiteboard, you see what is on the whiteboard. So also when the teacher is explaining, you hear, you listen to what the teacher is saying. Then again, when the teacher is busy explaining, you can write down the notes of what the teacher is speaking about. Then the last one, you can do the hands-on activities, the project. So that is why we say it is possible for a person to use those 4 learning styles. And again, people learn in a different way. It means if, for example, if learner A is using a visual learning and a learner B is using kinetic learning, so it means those people have different learning style. So but you might find that learner A can use both 4 learning style, whereas learner B can only use 1 learning style. That is why we say people use different learning style. So I hope you have understood what I was speaking about. Basically, this is the first lesson or the first unit in term 2 LO. So don't be surprised. I am going to give you lesson about LO because it's not gonna be possible for every teacher to have their own group. So we are avoiding to have 10 groups of LO. So it's better we have 1 group. Then I will be the coordinator of the lesson. By the way, I'm Ma'am Helena. Don't be surprised. So that's it for now about the learning style. But you have homework about the learning style. The first one, you list and define 4 learning style. You list and define. It means you have to give those 4 learning style, and after you define them. For example, a visual learning style. What is a visual learning style? Can a person use 1 learning style? Explain yourself. If you say yes, explain why. If you say no, you also explain why. Which learning style suits you best? You as an individual, which learning style are you using? Then you explain yourself or explain your answer. Can you think of any challenges or weaknesses of each learning style? So if you are a visual learner, what kind of challenges can you have in your visual learning? For example, if you have a difficulty in seeing, if you have problem with your eyes, so you have challenges. Or if you're a kinetic learner but you have a hearing problem, that's your weakness. So if you are a kinetic learner but maybe you have a disability of some sort, then you have a weakness. So can you think of any challenge or weakness of each learning style? Mention at least 1 for each learning style. Then what does the acronym VAC stand for? What does the acronym VAC stand for? So please copy down this question because you don't have notes for LO for now. You don't have textbook, so copy down the questions and write the answers underneath. Okay, that's it for today. Then we'll discuss next lesson tomorrow.